How do you know whether to accept an AI coding suggestion? I've got 30 years of experience as a software engineer. I've built AI coding tools, including AppMap and OpenTips, and I'm going to break down for you how to get the best results from AI coding assistance, and I'll simplify the process of deciding whether to accept AI coding suggestions to its essential steps. I'm building here an iOS app, and one of the features of the app is to capture data using a QR code. And this is the code for that. And I have an AI tip here that says store the capture session, which is an element of the QR code scanner, as a property to ensure it isn't deallocated while scanning is active. Now, I have a framework that I use for deciding whether to accept these tips. The first element of the framework is, do I need this tip? And the second element is, how is it going to work? Do I like the implementation? So in this case, determining whether I actually need this tip, I'm not familiar enough with how this works to actually know that, so I had to go do some research. What it's saying is that I should store the capture session as a member variable of my class instead of as a local variable here. And I actually noticed that if I dig down here, I have a similar tip called asking me to store the AV capture session as a property to avoid accessing it through the preview layer, and that actually comes down here. So these two tips are related. The first tip is really saying store the variable as a member variable instead of as a local variable. And then here I even have another related tip saying when you store it as a member variable in the view controller, use a weak reference so that you don't add too many references and interfere with garbage collection. So there's a lot going on here with these tips. Basically what it's saying is capture session is stored as a local variable here. I should make it a member variable of the class, but then I need to make it a weak reference. So what I actually see from these different tips is that there's two different ways I can manage the capture session, either as a local variable in this function and then accessing it through this reference here, or I can make it a class member variable, but if I do that, I need to make sure it's a weak reference so that I don't introduce a circular reference, which could lead to a memory leak. So it looks to me like either way will actually work. Having it as a local variable of the function here, when the function's over, the variable will be out of scope of the function, and so there'll no longer be a reference to it. The only reference to it will be on the preview layer. So I think this is fine as coded. I don't see a need to change this. And with that analysis, I'm gonna leave it as it is. But doing the investigation definitely taught me a few things about that I needed to know about how this camera scanning works, and it enabled me to determine not to accept this tip because it doesn't seem to be essential. So I don't need to go on to the next step of looking at the implementation. So that's this particular tip. Follow me for more tips on how to work effectively with your AI coding assistant.